Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
I'm Scott, I'm an alcoholic. Hello. Alright, come on. Thanks, Kerry, for asking me to come speak. Always a privilege. Congratulations to all the birthday people, and I mean all of you. Always sucks to be the first birthday at this meeting because there's more fucking people behind you than there's sitting out here, you know. And I always love like the born again non-smokers when they take cakes. They got like lungs of steel, you know, like yeah. Look, I don't smoke anymore. I smoke. I love it. It's great. I tell you, you know, I need a little something to take the fucking edge off, you know. I'll stop one day, you know, not today, that's all, you know. I'm going to smoke right after this, and I just had one right now. It was great. Anyway. So, yeah, congratulations to the birthday people. And even more, congratulations to the 4 people here who don't have a commitment and still got a seat. Congratulations to you. It's like winning the lottery, isn't it? You know? You know, you know, if I needed that much fucking anxiety to get a seat at a meeting, I'd still shoot speed, you know? It's like a military operation to get here on time and get a seat, you know? Reminds me of like the Who in Cincinnati, you know, like at the door here. Anyway, congratulations to you people. You know? Alright, sobriety. Okay. Let's see. I'll take this off. Drugs and alcohol are great, aren't they? I love them. Personally, I'd have done them for the rest of my life if I could have. There wasn't a drug that I didn't take that I didn't like, you know, eventually, you know, and some of them took a little getting used to, you know. I never really liked throwing up, but I got used to it, you know. It was alright. I love to drink, I'm English. It's kind of synonymous, really, isn't it? It's really the same thing. Drinking's great, you know. Nothing wrong with waking up and having a couple of, you know, old English just to take the edge off, you know. And if I could have kept doing it, I would have. You know, I always get really fucking suspicious of people that come in here and downplay drugs and alcohol, you know, because I think they were the one thing that saved my life. And then if it hadn't have been for drugs and alcohol, I think I would have hung myself or put a bullet in my head or in some other way snuffed out myself, because this is just too much for me. Life, you know, it's too much. You know, a friend of mine coined the phrase everything all at once all the time, you know, and that's how I felt, always. So when I found drugs and alcohol, it was a godsend. you know? So, yeah, bless you. Are you taping this? Are we still taping this fucking meeting? That's always fun, isn't it? I don't know why, because like, mate, I'm just a little jaded, but I can't even listen to speaker tapes. I had a tape of Bill W. I listened to like 10 minutes. I went, all right, that's good. He's sober, and but it'd be kind of. You remember like the old radio shows, like it'd be kind of cool if the speaker tape had like sound effects and stuff, And then my dad came into my room, I went to the club. I don't like being taped. Yeah, you have to be careful what you say. So anyway, all right. So I think I was born an alcoholic, and that doesn't mean I was born and I started drinking. What that means is, from my earliest memories, I have felt displaced. I have felt sick. I have felt anxious and nauseous. From my earliest memories, I've had anxiety. Now, I grew up in a house that didn't help, but I think I had it before, I grew up in a house where I have a father who's an alcoholic, and he's a little emotionally unavailable, He never actually says I love you. He says things like, your mum loves you, right? And that's his way of saying I love you, but can't be quite that direct, he's a very angry man. He's not that angry anymore because he's like 65 now, and he's little and he's old, he hasn't aged well, and probably because of all the alcohol, but he beat the shit out of me pretty much every day. And I don't mean slapping around, I mean closed fists, big chunky fucking rings in the face, beat the shit out of me. And if I cried, he beat me more. So I learned not to cry. And let me tell you, when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I wouldn't know a feeling if it was neon and shoved up my arse, Not that I've tried that. But the point is that I was so emotionally shut down that I had no feelings when I got here. And it always kind of amused me when people would say, well, how are you feeling? And then I would just take a guess what you wanted to hear, because I don't know actually, I have no idea. I could be extremely happy, And again, I might be in a depression. I'm not entirely sure. They all kind of look the same to me, It's either on or off, really. So he was very angry. And I inherited some of that, by the way, funny enough. And my mum is a drug addict. And my mum is still very sick. And she has somehow maintained a diet of pills and continues to. And she's still going, And I don't quite know how. And there were many times when I would put her in the bathtub and turn the shower on in the bathtub and bring her around and walk her around the living room, and we weren't allowed to call the ambulances because she'd have gotten in trouble for the scripts, and I was like 8, 9 years old. And I was always really fucking angry about all the other kids that were going out playing and riding, you know, like skateboards came out and, you know, and kids were riding bikes and that, and I had to revive my mum, you know, and I was a little resentful about that for the next 25 years, you know, and anyway, I grew up in this house, and I left home when I was 12 because I couldn't take the beatings anymore. I just couldn't deal with it. And I had one great salvation in my life, and that was my grandfather. Hello, everyone. And my grandfather was the greatest man that ever lived. He probably wasn't, but he was to me. And he was handsome and he was tall, and his best friend was Peter Sellers, and they used to come and hang out and make me laugh, you know, and he loved me. And when he died, I left. And I was 10. And when he died, I left. And probably took me a good 15 years to come back. And I don't do what I need to do out there unless I'm gone, right? You know, like, I love, you know, when people talk about, like, having moments of clarity, you know, when you suddenly wake up and you're, like, in a crack house naked, you know, and with people you don't actually know, you know, and there's, like, guns, and for a split second you go, fuck, you know, and then you're gone again, you know, and because I've got to be completely shut down in order to do what I need to do out there, all right? And so when we get to AA, and people are like, well, how are you feeling? Well, I don't know how I'm feeling. I don't even know if I want to be sober. And if you're sitting here and you're not sure if you want to be sober, that's normal for an alcoholic, you know? Like, it kills it. Alcoholics think there's something fucking wrong with them if they're not feeling good all the time, you know? If I'm like, you know, like, I can have a bad day. I may even want to drink. And it doesn't mean that I need to go and write and do some steps and fucking, you know, like, it doesn't, it's like alcoholics are like, you know, oh, don't have a feeling, you know, don't have a feeling, write some stuff. Well, sometimes I need to sit with my feelings. Sometimes I need to feel bad. Sometimes I need to have a whole human experience, you know? I love it, you know? I used to be such a codependent sponsor, you know? They were like, I don't feel good today. Well, you need to write. If you don't write, you're going to die, you know? Like, and now I just like, oh, you know, like, okay, well, feel bad. You'll feel better, you know? Like, there's nothing wrong with you sitting in here and you hate me and you hate the fucking meeting and you hate sobriety. You're an alcoholic. You're supposed to hate this. This is recovery, you know? We talk about recovery here. It's uncomfortable if you're in the disease. It's just uncomfortable, you know? I don't want to be here, you know? And know that the disease is relentless, and it will never stop, and it will never give up, and it will always, always try and get you. And it's not going to be, when you know, like, it's like really obvious, you know, because it just goes like, you know, you're like in the meeting, you're like, and it just goes, drink, and you're like, oh, you know, I'm going to, and you know, suddenly you're overcome with the urge to drink, and but if you get some time sober and you have some experience here and you've worked some steps and you've been around a little bit, it can't come at you like that because it goes drink and you're like, yeah, I know, I recognize that. So it comes around other ways, you know. You'll date people you fucking hate, you know. That's one way, you know. you'll work a job where every day you wake up and you want to kill yourself rather than go into work, you know. They'll find lots of other ways to keep you depressed, you know, until eventually you have no choice but to drink, you know. And the unfortunate thing is, if you do have time, usually to drink is to die, unfortunately. You know, I wish we could all just go out and come back and, you know, and just have another war story, but we don't. And I've been to 27 funerals, and I'm not sober 27 years. You know, it's a lot of funerals for people that I had on my couch, or that I was, you know, godfather to their kid, or that I helped get sober, or put me on their couch. And I miss them. Yeah, and you know, sometimes I think that, sometimes I come to this meeting and I fucking hate it, you know? Because I think I get caught up in the who's got the new Porsche outside, you know? And instead of remembering that I shouldn't even be here, you know? If you're sad because your pilot hasn't gone to series, you got your fucking priorities really mixed up if you're in here. You know, because you only sold 3 million albums as opposed to 5 last time. It's not a bad thing. I shouldn't be here. I should be dead. You know, life's not fair. Well, thank God life's not fair, eh? I'd be doing like 25 years in Folsom if life was fucking fair, alright? You ever carry drugs across state lines? Only when you're going out of state, right? If life was fair, I should be dead, really. Life not being fair has worked in my favour considerably, you know. Thank God life's not fair, you know. It's great, you know. Sometimes like I hear people and they're like, yeah, well I got sober and then I developed cancer and then my wife died, and I'm just like, oh, alright, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing alright, you know. Sometimes I used to just come to meetings, you know, just to be, you know, like, I needed to hear someone in a lot of pain, you know, so I would feel better. Because I have no perspective as an alcoholic. I don't know which side is up or down, you know. So, let's see, all right. You got to be careful if you got time in here too. Because there's this terrible thing that comes with time sober. And that is pride. And pride is what I think you think of me. Now, pride is not what you think of me. Pride is what I think you think of me. I have no idea what you think of me, really. But I think I do. Yeah. And the hard thing about having some sort of time is that you think you're supposed to appear recovered. Now here, the actual truth is that the disease of alcoholism is just 10, 15, 20 years stronger. Stronger. It's sitting in here. It's listening to me right now. It's taking fucking notes. You know? It's remembering stuff for later. You know? It's like, oh, I can't do that anymore. Okay, well, we'll try a different tactic. You know? Oh, he knows about that. Okay. Right. So if you're in here and you got time and you're in pain, you should probably share about it. talk to a sponsor. Go to a meeting and share. And you don't have to go to like, you know, a shishi meeting and share. There's plenty of little meetings where your pride won't be so battered, you know. Lots of little meetings and just share. And because this is why it's so important. When you come here, and if all you heard was speakers get up here and talk about how wonderful sobriety is, and how great their lives were, you know, and how, you know, they've suddenly, you know, all their dreams have come true, you'd think you're insane. Because that wasn't my experience, you know. It wasn't all rosy. It wasn't all good. I got sober and things didn't get better. It got hard. Because suddenly, for the first time, I was awake. And I needed speakers to get up and talk about being in pain. Because that's what I was experiencing sitting in these seats. I didn't come in here and have a fucking epiphany, you know? It wasn't like, oh, joy to be sober. It wasn't like, oh, look at your rosy cherub faces and shining with God consciousness. It was like, I want to die. I'm having so many feelings, I just want to die, you know? And I would hear these speakers like Bob and Meehan get up and share. And he did not give a shit what I thought, you know? And I loved that. And I've modeled my sobriety after people like that. He just didn't care if I thought he was cool or not. And that made him even fucking cooler to me, you know? Being a people pleaser, that was quite amazing, you know? I was quite dumbfounded, you know? And he would get up and he would share about how much pain he was in, you know? I remember he talked about, I had him from the podium one time, and I'll just tell a little bit of his story, because he lives in Escondido and he never comes up here anymore, so... You know, he talks quite openly from the podium about, you know, how he was molested by a priest, you know? And he didn't realise until he got sober that it wasn't okay for him to actually like it, you know? And I think that sometimes, you know, we have our own experiences. And I don't need your shame for my actions, you know? I'm quite okay with some of the stuff that happened with me, you know? I was, fuck it, we'll talk about it. You know, I was incested up until the time I was 12. That had a profound effect on me. It has made relationships very difficult for me. It has made intimacy very difficult for me. But I'm all right with it. You know, I fucking paid already. You know, I didn't pay, you know, during the act. I paid for the next 15 years that I blacked out. That I wasn't here. I missed my whole fucking life. That's what alcoholism does to me. I'm not here. You know, I didn't go to college. I wasn't here. I didn't, you know, have a great life as a kid because I wasn't here. And I'm pissed about it. And I'm not okay with that. And that's the disease of alcoholism. Because I wanted to be here. And I think alcoholics are inherently good. And we want to be here. And we want to help each other. And we want to, you know, participate in life because we got so much to offer it, you know. Alcoholics are the most intuitive people on the planet. We have so much to offer the world. And alcoholism says, you cannot be here. Drunk or sober. There's people in here who aren't here right now. Just not fucking here. They're in next Tuesday or, you know, last year, or why didn't she stay? Or, you know, will I get that promotion? Or how's my hair? You know? Not here. And it's very difficult, I think, for alcoholics to actually be here. And I think maybe the greatest thing that I am doing these days is learning how to be here. And it's fucking uncomfortable sometimes. And as a kid, I bought this, you know, I created this fortress when nobody got in. And that was the fortress of alcoholism. And nobody gets in. Nobody. And it was great. Because nobody could hurt me. And then I got sober. And that fortress became my prison. And I started to die in sobriety. And I think the hardest decision for an alcoholic to make is, am I going to die or am I going to live? And you'd think it's an easy decision, right? Yeah. But it's not. I'm very aware, and we were talking about this at dinner tonight, I'm very aware of what to do when I'm in pain. I've been around a long time. I have written many inventories. I have done all the steps repeatedly. I know exactly what to do. And yet, sometimes I choose to not do it. I make a conscious decision to rather watch TV than write. I make a conscious decision to rather eat than write. I make a conscious decision to go spend money than write. Sometimes it's not the easy decision, right? Otherwise, we'd all stay sober. I'm not hearing anybody coming back going, fucking, it's great, man. Yeah, it's really good now, you know? Like, yeah, the drugs are so much better. You don't throw up, you know? Like, God, I haven't had a hangover yet, you know? No one's coming back with, like, a better story, you know? If you're making it back, you're coming back and you're telling us what it's really like, and I don't want to go back. It's boring. Quite frankly, alcoholics drinking bore me. I don't find them entertaining at all, you know? Some people are, whoa, they're so funny. No, they're not. No. They're not funny, they're pathetic. It's sad, you know? Watching somebody trying to escape their life, it's sad. Yeah. The answer for me has been God. And I say that flippantly, and yet it is very heavy. My experience with God is unlike yours, and your experience is unlike mine. And so for me to try and explain my experience with God is kind of pointless. It's like trying to explain orange to someone who's blind. I just can't do it. But suffice to say, God has been the one constant thing in my sobriety, and I am assuming prior to it, that has allowed me to stay awake. And it was not an easy decision. I did not want to believe in God. I thought God had abandoned me long ago, if there was a God. I couldn't understand why the things that had happened to me, if there was a God. I did not feel grateful for a God. And so I have this analogy, and if you've heard me speak before, you're going to hear it again, that I have a bag of shit. In this bag that I carry with me walking into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous is every fucked up experience I've ever had. Every depressing day I've ever had. Every preconceived notion of everybody and everything that's negative that I have ever had. And in this bag of shit is my shame and guilt and fear and self-hatred and self-loathing. And I carry it around with me and on my back, and it's heavy, man. And I walk into these rooms, and you can see when I'm carrying the bag. And then I open up the bag after I put my hand up to share. And I pull something out the bag, and I go, look at my shit from the bag. look, everyone. Everyone's like, God, that's some shit, man. That's really, it's fucked up shit. That's too bad, that shit. And I go, yeah. So that's some shit, huh? Yeah. And I put it in the bag. And I put the bag on my back. And I go to another meeting. And I open the bag and I go, look! Here's another piece of shit from the bag. And everyone's like, oh, wow, another piece of shit from the bag. Okay, that's really interesting, yeah? And I get to step 3 eventually because my back is now breaking from this bag. And of course, in sobriety, I'm just putting stuff into the bag left, right, and center, you know? Because now I'm actually awake enough to cop 10 times the resentments that I had before. And I get to step 3 and I say to God, God, I'm dying. And God says, is that your bag? And I'm like, yeah. And I like gently put the bag right behind me, you know, like, don't touch my bag, man. And God's like, well, we're at step 3, Scott, and I got a bag for you. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God. Thank God. Because this bag, this is not a good bag, you know? And God's like, all right, give me your bag, I'll give you this bag. It's like, but we got to do it like that, okay? And I'm like, well, can I see what's in the bag, first of all? I always used to have anxiety on that game show where they'll take behind what's number 2 or whatever. I was like, don't do it, man, take the money. You never know. So I go, no, all right, God, because I have no faith, all right? I go, God, show me what's in the bag, and then I'll make a decision. And God's like, no. Give me a bag. I'll give you this bag. And because I have no faith, I don't take the bag. But in that bag is everything I've ever wanted. And I'm not talking about a Mercedes and a house. I'm talking about peace of mind. I'm talking about not looking in the mirror and going, you ugly motherfucker. I'm talking about not feeling like you have like leprosy. I'm talking about feeling like you belong in the planet. That's what's in the bag. And I need to trade bags. And this is not an easy decision for an alcoholic. Because I've earned everything that's in my bag. Everything that's in, do you know how much effort is in my bag? You know, thousands of days. And God's like, well, Scott, anytime you want this bag, it's here for you. And at step 3, I make the decision. And eventually I made that decision. And I would tell you that my life at times has been difficult, sober. But it is infinitely more rewarding than any life that I deserve. It is beyond my wildest dreams. I am actually awake. I'm really here. I never thought I'd make it. I never thought I'd stay sober. I didn't think that I was a kid, that anybody could love or could love anybody. But I'm here. And I'm a testament to God and to the program. And thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you, Scott.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think. Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I don't not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with, and it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.